Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Mercenary Fighter, otherwise it's known as the Quat Systems Engineering Custom Mercenary Starfighter. Uh, the funny thing is here I'm trying to look up whatever information I can on this here tonight, and I cannot find anything else except for these stats, the same stats that we have in our book. Wikipedia does not have anything, so all I can really say is this is just a custom StarCraft that was made by Kuat, um, most notably purchased by mercenaries for doing whatever uh, work that they're doing. Most notably, I would say for um, people trying to have their own standing army or whatever else. So, and we do have a picture, and I do have a picture that I found, and that'll be our thumbnail. Uh, but the funny thing is I just cannot find any extra information outside of this, and just trying to look it up on just the web itself really got to be kind of challenging. So, um, I'm just trying to burn through the burn through the night trying to find something. I just am not having a good time trying to find anything for. So I don't have a good background to be able to read off and explain any extra things outside of this is just a ship that's been produced here for most likely just the games itself. And I can't tell you if this is coming directly from, I think it is West End Games, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know if this was created for Wizards of the Coast or who. I'm going to guess it's West End Games, but just throwing it out there, I cannot say for sure, so I don't know who created this originally. So, what we will do is we'll go through what stats we do have here, and we'll just kind of go from there. Um, so, we're looking at a Starfighter scale craft that's 16 meters in length, does have a crew of one. Let's see, we do not see anything for any extra personnel being in there. Um, Here's our standard crew stats. It would be somebody typically flying with a piloting of 3D plus 2, gunnery of a 3D plus 2, and starship shields of 3D. Our cargo capacity here is 100 kilograms. Consumables is for about 2 weeks. Not typically for sale, but roughly estimated about 107,000 credits. Let's see, we have a hyperdrive of times 2, backup of times 10. We do have a nav computer on here, which is kind of interesting. It's not saying it's using a droid brain or anything else, it's an actual nav computer. We do have a maneuverability of 2D plus 2, a space of 9. It can have a atmospheric flight of 1,150 kilometers an hour. We do have a hull of 4D plus 1, so it is a pretty resilient hull. Our shields is only a 1D plus 1, which is not the most robust, but it is there. The asterisk here says the Mercenary Starfighter has a 2D of backup shields. So similar as to what we would kind of think of like Star Trek, where it can drop down and then it can come back up. So if you knock the shields down, it can come back up. So our sensor packet, we have a passive scan at 2 kilometers, an active scan at 4.5 kilometers, a search at 8.5 kilometers, and a focus of 400 meters. Our weapons here, we do have 2 laser cannons that are fire linked. Fire control is 1D, and damage is 5D. So that's pretty standard. Not knowing exactly what era this is Old Republic. So if this is going to be an Old Republic ship, um, that's pretty robust then. Um, I think a lot of our older Republic was really doing about 4D damage. We do have a concussion missile launcher. We have 10 rounds, Fire control is 3D plus 2, so that's pretty beefed up for fire control. And it is our standard 8D damage for a concussion missile launcher. So, all in all, a pretty substantial ship. Um, it's a little slower in the hyperdrive, but once it gets into system, or if it's being carried on board, whatever other capital ships and it's being launched, especially, I mean, we have two laser cannons doing 5D damage. That's pretty respectable for the time frame that this is being put out at. And having the concussion missile launcher with 10 rounds, that's pretty substantial. So this is definitely a very deadly ship for its time. Of course, once we get into like Galactic Civil War and stuff like that, we get more deadlier ships. But for its time frame, it is a pretty deadly ship. So um, even if you fast forward a couple of these and you're running them as a group, that could be a deadly combination. The speed is pretty up there, kind of on par with what the X-wing is doing. I think the X-wing is actually at a 10. For the time frame, we would be looking at the Y-wing, and I believe the Y-wing was doing a 7. Now, my mind will get fuzzy on some of the stuff at times, so I'm just taking a pot shot at that one. But I want to say I think it's a 7. So uh, I think we could be doing circles around the Y wing in that. But there again, the Y wing is more of a bomber. Um, it's more of a attack. Our bombing runs and stuff like that. It's not a space superiority fighter in that regard. So, with that being said, thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you stop by. I know it's a little bit shorter video, but that's fine. That happens from time to time. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.